Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all doing well, although it is afternoon where I am today. Similar, oh, sorry to hear that. Hope you get better soon. Yeah, today the weather up in the west coast of England and Wales there in that corner is not very good. So I rolled it back. I rolled the time back to give us a little bit more daylight, but I've also changed the weather setting to the preset of few clouds. Just again, this is a sightseeing flight, and we want to be able to see what we're flying over. We'll just take a look around. We're here at Hawarden. We've got the Airbus factory. As you can see, everything is over there. We saw them when we came in and landed here. Today's flight's going to take us up. We're going to head north up towards Liverpool. We're leaving Wales. And we're going to head to Liverpool. Then we're going to turn east, kind of cover the terrain over to Manchester, swing north around Blackburn, Preston, and Blackpool, then out over the water, and we're going to head over to our destination airport at Barrow Walney Island. So that's the flight plan for today. Yeah, I'll agree with that. So weather's looking good. It's kind of busy out here. You can see a lot of people on the multiplayer platform in the area. There we go. So anyway, let's jump on board and we'll get fired up and get ready to get moving. All right, so let's get the batteries on. Get rid of this. I've got my own Yoke. I don't need yours. I'll turn the beacon on and the nav lights. You can go quiet. Thank you. Bit of shrapnel in the leg. All right, so mixture's fully rich. Throttle's cracked slightly. Fuel tanks are on both. Fuel cutoff is in. We're going to prime the engine for about a count of 5.
System test. Okay.
And there we go. And we should be good to start. There we go. We have a good start on the engine. We'll turn on the avionics. Get that up and running. So do my usual setup here. I turn off that little insert map. CDI will go to GPS. PFD and wind, I like option 3. We'll go back. Transponder, put it to VFR, on alt, and we can go back there as well. So that's all set up. Our nav display is all set up. We're only going to be going up to about 1,500 feet, I guess. Should be enough. So zoom out a little bit so we can see where we're going. And we'll come over here. So if we set our alt to 1,500 feet, and our initial heading when we head out of here, we'll go for a heading of north. So it'll be 360, and then we'll set the vertical speed probably about 400 feet per minute as we go up. Alright, so engine's warming up. So with the winds on the preset, they're out of the west, so we're going to head over to runway 22 and see if we can taxi over, and we'll take off in a westerly direction. Alright, so this is runway 22 over that way. Oh, there's Subvet. So we're actually going to kind of go the way he's going, although not over the grass. So let's get ourselves set up here. This weird fencing thing looked like it was spinning around. So we'll get on our taxi light. Beacons are on. Everything else is good. So parking brake will come off. ourselves to spin around. I don't want to hit Buddy here on the little push cart tug thing. So we'll just spin it around this way. And we'll taxi out. So I've been doing some practicing in the DC-6. It's an interesting airplane. I like it. I like it a lot. Hopefully tonight I'm going to record the first video for it, which will be the first of the tutorials that come with it. There's a lot to cover in it. A lot of interesting stuff. And I have found that while it flies at about half the speed as an Airbus and half as high in altitude, it has so much more going on. You're actually busier than you are in the A320. And there's a lot more monitoring what's happening. Because there is no automatic fuel switches or automatic anti-ice. Anything like that. You've actually got to be on top of it. Oh, I forgot to load my livery. Oh well, I'm in the generic. You actually have to be on top of what's going on. Anti-ice, even the windshield deheat for ice and fog has multiple settings depending on the outside air temperature. So you got to be on top of that as well. So it's a bit much at times. You got to definitely be ahead of the airplane. And the airplane doesn't like doing anything fast. It's very slow. Yeah, need more than two hands sometimes. But it is going to be fun. My plan is to record both the tutorials. I've done the first tutorial 3 times. And I've got to still do the second one. I'm hoping to record the first tutorial after this tonight. Get it up in the next day or so. And then start working on the second tutorial is the cold and dark, the engine starts and all that. So we'll see how that all runs and handles. Should be interesting. Freaked me out when I first saw the cockpit because there was like 8 throttles in it. Didn't quite realize there was a set for each side because the cockpit's so wide. And only 1 prop lever, so that's interesting. Although you can fine-tune each one with a set of switches. So today's trip on this leg of our tour should take about, just over an hour, I think. We'll see how it goes. Somebody's camper van sitting parked there. We're going to come up here, we'll turn right and follow the taxiway down. Again, very busy out here. Must be a popular area in the multiplayers. So we take off on the runway 22 heading till 500 feet, and then we're going to turn to the north. We'll get ourselves up to 1,000 feet and then head over and intercept our course for the tour. There's an airplane. Steamed Siren 2. This leads me to believe there's a Steamed Siren 1. Alright, so taxi light will come on, flanny light will come on, strobe light will come on. There we are. So while we get ready to go, if you could hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and do the bell notification things. Streaming a couple times a week, videos a couple times a week, and it's like to grow the community. So if you enjoy it, consider like, subscribe, and don't forget, if you want questions, comments, all very welcome in the chat and in the messages for the video itself. All right, so I think we're ready to go. So I'm just going to ease the throttle forward. I want to bring up to full power. Say goodbye to the Airbus factory here. Not sure what they make here. I believe it's the tail sections and some of the wing parts, if I remember right. Alright, there's 60 knots. We'll ease back on the yoke, and we are up. There's 300 feet. Landing lights are off. It's 400 feet. Flaps are coming up. Definitely wings, yeah. Alright, so autopilot coming on. Vertical speed mode. To about 500 or so. Heading mode engaged. Start heading north. And we're going to climb out to about 1,500 feet so we can get a nice look at the ground. We may have to climb a little bit further on when we got some terrain up around Preston, but we'll see how that goes. There's the airport. That is a freeware add-on airport from flightsim.to. Go into nav mode now. We'll follow the course itself. Fly back alongside the airport. There's 1,500 feet coming in. Pull the throttle back to 2450. There we go. Somewhere in about there. The engine starters are the problem. You may have to set a separate profile. Like, I've got multiple profiles. So I've got like for the DC6, I had to, everything on my yoke, my masters, avionics switches, magnetos, I had to blank those out because they were interfering. So for every type of aircraft, I've got a different setup, especially my throttles. So I've got twin engine jet, twin engine prop, single engine prop, 4 engine jet. I've even got one for the Airbus A135 helicopter. So there's a lot of different settings you're gonna have to do. So if you have a conflict with something like the starters and stuff, you may have to set up like a single engine prop profile and then go in and blank those out so that there's no interference. But you sometimes get those little bits that it's multiple key bindings become the issue. Alright, so we are currently flying up towards, well, it's Ellesmere Port, and there's that straight canal. When we came in here, we came down the other side. Now we're coming up this way. And we're going to be going across Bromborough and New Ferry and stuff, and then when we get up towards the end here, that's Liverpool. And no, I cannot do a Liverpudlian accent. But home of the Beatles. It's a rather large factory there. Sun glare. Should be landing around sunset. Oh, really? Yeah. Some towns have a peculiar, let's call it, aroma to them. So we should pass over the channel here just before Liverpool, and we're gonna basically go up to Bootle and then make the turn there. So it's looking like around Port Sunlight, New Ferry, is where we're gonna cross over. That's the M53 motorway. Again with the green roads. Somebody mentioned in Gavin's stream that it seems to be a Bing map issue. Chicken and chips. And a can of Coke. Yeah, I just gotta sound like Paul McCartney. It's funny though, you go from there up to like Blackpool, which is just up the way, and the accent's totally different. Fuel valve? Oh. Fuel valve on the Cessna's underneath. Well, maybe it is a binding thing. I don't know. But it's good you found it. That's good. So there's a New Ferry up there. This is Bromborough. We are flying over. Yeah, it looks like a very industrial place. I assume, well, you can see some of the dockyards there, but I assume the Liverpool area was a shipyard, shipping place back in the 1800s, early 1900s. It is. I've been over many times, and it always amazes me. You know, you just go over a hill or 20 miles down the road, and the accent's different. I mean, we have a wide variety of accents here in Canada. Well, kind of from Ontario west, it's the same. But down on the East Coast, it's definitely a huge difference there. So now we're over on the eastern side. See all the housing below us. downtown Liverpool. Now that out there looks like a football stadium. That looks like two football stadiums. So I guess this is a bit of a case of two local teams becoming good enough to be high end, and their stadiums are just happen to be next door to each other, kind of like I guess the Mets and the Yankees in New York, although they're a little bit further apart. But there they are. Oh yeah, you can see all the dockyards here. One is definitely bigger than the other. Oh, you can see the lines down there too. Nobody's playing today. Yeah, the fuel shut-off valve. Yeah, it's the little pull-out valve, and there's the other one. Right in amongst the housing too. It's amazing. All right, we're turning east. We're gonna head out. Paul McCartney's Old School. Yeah. Pretty cool. You see the masses of housing out here. So we're heading down towards Warrington. And then after Warrington, we're going to turn up towards Manchester. Manchester is usually the airport I fly into when I head over, because I got family south of there. Very flat area. Really stands out compared to some of the stuff we've seen with the mountains and the valleys and the different terrains. Oh, you're in Warrington. Ah, well, we'll wiggle our wings as we fly overhead. Close windows. So I used to drive into work along Lake Ontario, and there's a spot where you're, depending on the wind, it was definitely, you could pick up the scents coming off a water treatment place. You're driving in a nice summer day at 5 in the morning with the windows down, and you get that whiff coming across. See a little bit more green out here. So my one little duckling is following along. I do love how good it looks with the malls and the bigger factory buildings and everything. It really adds to it as you fly overhead. fairly big tower down there. It's amazing, it doesn't take far, eh? You just turn a corner and you're into farmland. I think it was, I saw something where something like 73 to 75% of England is farmland. It's pretty incredible. So we're coming up on the M62. Over there. Yeah, you can hear an engine right behind me. There he is. Yeah, cooling towers would make sense there. I've not been down to Liverpool. I'd like to get down there, but just haven't managed yet. Not sure why. But here we are, outskirts of Warrington. In the housing down there. Factories on one side, housing estates on the other. Looks like we got a little bit of wind because the airplane's wiggling around a little bit. So once we get down into Warrington, we're going to turn to the northeast and head up towards Manchester. Great Sankey. Oh, so you're on the western part of Warrington. Okay. I guess that's another football stadium coming up. Down here in the heart of the town. And there's the turn. Yeah, Amazon's everywhere. Now we're going to head up towards Manchester. You can see the hills on the horizon. And if you've flown into Manchester, you'll be familiar with the hills there. Warrington Rugby. Oh, rugby field. Okay. The road we're about to cross is one I'm kind of familiar with, the M6. Driven it a lot from this area down towards Birmingham. You sure it's not a rugby club? Maybe they're not having a great season. So I think we're heading right down into downtown Manchester. Then we're going to turn north and head up over the hills. Kind of head out towards Blackburn. I'll get the stadium chants going. Yeah. And again, we just around the corner. There's the houses, got some trees, and then farmland. It's one of the things I like about driving over in England. It's just everything being so compact. Hardington. It's that right there. Very kind of industrial area. I know driving up from the north up into Manchester when I go to the airport, there's a huge, I don't know if it's a refinery, maybe it is a refinery, fuel refinery. Looks like one. So it's a landmark for when I'm getting close to the city. So Stretford. Coming up, Gorse Hill. And Manchester itself is up in this area. It's nice to get views of the city from the air. You can see how it's, especially in Europe, how it's evolved and how everything's kind of expanded outwards, so you can see the evolution of the city. Except for whatever these huge places are. I don't know if that's supposed to be a shopping mall or warehouse, car factory, I don't know. Sun shining down there. Looks like Wayne has taken over from Chumi, who used to like to fly right behind me. There's the city docks on the, I guess it's a canal that runs out towards the water and oh, there we go. Now which one's this? Is this Man U or Man City? I know there's two teams here. I don't know where their stadiums are. Rail line coming in. Big mandatory tall buildings in the center of town. There's some nice old Georgian or Warney housing here. Those little squares and everything. Another train station here. Like, I know if you go to Paris, you've got like 7 or 8 train stations that come in and all terminate. Is that the same thing in Manchester? They come in and they stop? Or do they go carry on right through? Well, let's say, well, here's another one here. Although I don't think it's the same level. Wow, look at all the... Definitely some sort of sporting complex around here. Man U is massive in its red. Okay. Not seeing it yet. See the hills off to the east. Some nice green parks. Sun glare there. So we're headed up towards the hills here, so we're going to have to watch our altitude. It said 1,500 feet should be fine. It's looking okay so far. I think we are going to curve around it slightly. But yeah. Everything is looking very well. The M60 we just passed over. I think this is kind of the ring road around Manchester. Say goodbye to it as we head off into the countryside. Heading up towards the east side of Blackburn, and then we're going to loop around and come over north of Preston. Past the sand piles here and the gravel yards. And this is, I guess it's just pronounced Bury. Bury is over here. And this is Haywood, just to let you know where we are. And then I think we just passed over a place called Heatbrid. Heatbrid, interesting name. The M66. Heading up into the hills here. Got a wind farm up over here. Good place for it, although they are definitely an eyesore. Golf course. Well, multiple golf courses. One of my favorite names. Coming up to the town of Ramsbuckham. Well, it's definitely hard work land. See all the scarring on it. Gravel yard. Quarry. Like they modeled the pool of water in it. Up in here is the town of Haslingden, and this little one coming up in front of us that we're going to fly directly over is Helmshore. We're starting to head into the hills, as you can see. Moose on a biplane. Very, very interesting namer tag. And I hope there's a story behind that. The lone wind turbine over there up on the hill. And the rows of homes. It'd be nice if you could see all the sheep that you'd have on these fields. I know it would be hard to put like 50 million sheep into the game, but it's definitely something that would stand out as you're flying along. So here's Accrington. Long, narrow town. Oh, actually, this leads into it. This is Accrington over here. And once we get past there, we should be making a bit of a left turn, heading even more westward. So we do have to get out to the water again. just amazing sitting here looking down on it from above, like I said. I was about to say I could do this for hours, and I do. Alright, so we're going to keep heading this way. So there's actually a town that goes by the name Great Britain in Great Britain. That is like Inception level naming. And I wonder which one came first. Because I don't think Great Britain was named until when they were combined, England and Scotland in, was it 1703? I think that's when Great Britain came in. Of course, Wales had already been subsumed by England. Because the UK is that plus Northern Ireland, so pretty cool if that town was named, and then for hundreds of years, and then Great Britain took its name from that. Some water pools. Still clear of the ground, which is good. Oh. Somebody else has come in back there. Is that Jan? Ah, very nice. Thought I saw your name tag at some point. So my followers have doubled. As we head towards the sun. So our next turn point is in a little place called Bayhorse. Interesting name. We're just going to be watching the countryside for a little bit. Let's see if we can get to where we can see it without being blinded. Hi Jan, yeah, I did thought I saw it when we were back at the airport there, but I wasn't sure. Nice of you to have us with us. Thank you very much for joining. I'm glad you could catch up. Yeah, all hills and farm country out this way. So this area here with all the trees is the Forest of Bowland area of natural beauty. So we're just going to be skirting the edge of it, but it's fairly big. It goes off for a while. So it's great, these rolling hills and everything. And another lone wind turbine out there. again with the ridges and the valleys. And this is where part of the issue, what we were talking earlier with the languages and the accents come from, is some of these hills back in the day were barriers to travel, so people wouldn't travel, and you would end up with isolated communities all over the place, and each of them would develop their own accents, or even at worst dialects of English over the centuries, and that would lead to your different accents. Yeah, we're still looking good for altitude. The weather's holding. Well, it's going to hold because it's a preset, so there's going to be no change there. So our destination airport, Barrow, which is on Walney Island, has 2 runways. They're not very big. We're going to land on the longer one, which will be runway 23. It's 3,422 feet. So that's going to be a full flaps 3 landing. Nice and slow to get us down and safe on the runway. Although it's not a big deal. The airport I learned to fly at was only a 3,500 foot runway, so just a couple feet longer. These airplanes have no issue handling that type of thing. It's looking interesting. We might get a little bit close to the treetop there, but it's looking like we'll get through okay. You guys are doing fine back there. And again, the terrain is just great, and we're starting to get a little hint of color in the clouds, so that's starting to look really cool. Yeah, weather's holding on a preset. Yeah. Hope we don't get a storm. There's 500 foot warning, so we're okay. But you do get a sense of speed when you get down low. The golden light on the clouds. Looking very nice. When I went and pulled the weather just before loading in, I saw it was rainy and foggy and low cloud. It was like, I want to see what we're flying over. So as we clear over the top of the hills here, we're going to make another bit of a turn to the left. And then we're going to head down towards the town of Fleetwood. And that's sort of our entry point out over the bay, the water. I guess it's the Irish Sea still. So that's us leaving the hills of the conservation area behind us. Little communities around here. So that's the M6 we're coming up to again. And that's the town of, well, up around here is the town of Lancaster. There's our turn. We're going to head out this way a bit and then cut across and head over to the water. Of course, if you know your English history, Lancaster being one of the two major families that were involved in the War of the Roses, in the House of Lancaster and the House of York, and the resulting fallout of that was the Tudors, the Tudor dynasty. Leading to such famous people as Henry VIII and Queen Elizabeth I. Whoa! Must have had a little bit of lag there. Did a nice teleportation in. I don't know if that was the server lagging or probably me lagging. I am flying on the Northern Europe server from North America, so my ping rate can get a little out of whack. So out here on this little peninsula is the town of Fleetwood, and we're going to turn back out of the water just before we get there. So we're kind of flying along the coast here, taking in the sights. Look at that farming right up to the edge of the water. I would like to imagine what this area would have looked like before the Anglo-Saxons came in and started deforesting everything, cutting trees down. It would have been just a massive forest everywhere, except for little villages. But we maintain good speed here. Once we're out over the water, we'll drop down to 1,000 feet. Airport elevation for where we're headed is 44 feet. So we're gonna kind of come in and do an abbreviated left-hand pattern with it. Oh, we still got a little bit to go for that. Sun's going down. There's a turn. And there's Fleetwood's right there on that peninsula there. So we're going to head out here across the water. Still turning a little bit. We'll dial ourselves down to about 1,000 feet. We'll just bring it down slightly into the golden sunset. is the time the photographers love for doing their photo shoots. You get the golden hour, either the hour after sunrise or the hour before sunset, and you get that golden light color. And you see the layout of the town, all industrial and the shipping and the whatever this stuff is, and then the housing comes into play. And very interesting. See that even the color of the light on the seats. So that's where we're headed. The airport's up the little bit of land there. And again, you get the reflections, clouds on the water, a little bit of the wave action on the water. The thing I'm not sure about no, we're still in England. Yeah. Just wondering where the border was. Carlisle's still a little bit up, so we're not quite up to Scotland yet. Yeah, Pilot Pat, I agree. I enjoy the visuals immensely in this sim. They're just so good. So how are we doing? We're down to about 1,000 feet. Sun's just going behind that little wispy cloud. So in a minute we're going to start heading up this way. That'll take us up towards the airport. I'm actually going to get us heading there now. Let's go to 330. Of course you want to do that on me. Come on. There we go. So we got another wind farm. Off to the side there. Out in the water where nothing can interfere. Let's get that straight wind blowing across. You can see the airport. Slowly bring it around. 230 is going to be our heading. I think I can see 35 kind of directly in front of us. So I'm actually going to come in on an extended left base. So we're going to go this way and then come back in. So we'll hold 1,000 feet, since that's about a circuit height. We're going to fly this way, and then we'll straighten up, come in on the 90-degree angle, and then down for the runway, which actually kind of runs on an angle this way. Of course, this is the town of Barrow and Furness. Not sure exactly what that means, but there's also a Newton in Furness, Dalton in Furness, Askham in Furness. So I'm not sure what a Furness is. Interesting. All right. Let's see how the others are doing. Coming to the end of the leg, there they are. So we're going to land. We're going to go all the way to the end of the runway, and then it's going to be a left turn off at the bottom of the runway. The airport's over there in the glare somewhere. Alright, we're getting close. You see we got to go up a little bit further. And we're going to make 90 degree that corner, and then we'll come in and land. So we're going to watch the terrain, obviously. And the airport's up over here. Yeah, airport's right there. I'm going to kill the autopilot, and then I'm going to dial this around to 232, which is the runway heading. So there I've got my runway heading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the throttle back a little bit. And I'm now going to turn to bring that to 90 degrees. Descend too much yet. Keep that turn going. I should be able to kind of just do a sweeping arc around and line myself up with it. I'll start easing the throttle back a little bit. She is. Alright. I'm going to come right back on the throttle. First notch of flaps, and I was a little abrupt with it. So landing lights are on. Slowing the aircraft down. We're a little high, but that's fine. We're at 0 idle power. There's flaps 2.
500.
500 feet. It's a little high. I want to bring the speed back a bit. We want flaps 3. It's going to want to be coming down at about 160. A little bit of power. There we go. Looking good. Slightly off center line, but we'll let her come over before we straighten finally. There we are. A little low, but that's fine. A little bit more power. Don't want it to stall. There we are, and we'll come off. Hold it. And we're down. Submarine. Oh, they build subs here, do they? Okay. So we'll make a left turn down here. And we'll come off at the bottom of runway 1735. And we'll circle back around to the little terminal building. Bring the flaps up. According to this, there's a little taxiway. So the taxi light on, landing lights off. Wayne passing in front of us. There we go. We'll come over to the ramp here. Park up somewhere down here. Expect a little bit of a bigger ramp, but I guess not. Bring her in over here. There we go. Go away. Parking brake goes on. And here we are. So mixture. The cutoff. Switches will come off. Ignition off. Avionics. Logbook. Wouldn't be a flight without the logbook opening up. And there is the master. Looks like somebody's decided to taxi right through the fuel pumps. Well, good flight. For those who have joined us in the air, thank you very much for coming along and flying with us. For those who have watched the flight, hope you enjoyed and enjoyed the scenery. I mean, that's why we're doing this. The next flight will be in a week, Wednesday again. we will see you for that one. And thanks again. Enjoy your evenings. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you on the next one. Bye for now.